It is quite bizarre in this day and age that the more exotic notes, such as the flattened third and the flattened seventh, are not included in any of the standard scales that beginners generally study, especially as they are such important colours and emotions. It's like learning a language academically, but not knowing any slang words. I hope by introducing these jazzier sounds here to begin to bridge what I consider to be a large gap between academic and popular music instruction. So in a previous video, we saw the Blues Arpeggio. It's like a mixture of major and minor arpeggios put together. This is a very powerful, compact 4-note grouping to learn. Here it is played over an F major chord. This mix of major and minor is so important as it is arguably the yin-yang of jazz, and as such needs to be deeply assimilated. So, to actually hear and practice these fundamental notes juxtaposed in the Blues Arpeggio is extremely useful indeed. Now to get a taste of this sound, let's listen to a 3-chord blues that features the notes of the Blues Arpeggio. So on the B-flat tonic chord, I will play and limit myself to the B-flat Blues Arpeggio. On the E-flat 4 chord, I will play notes solely from the E-flat Blues Arpeggio. And over the F, the 5 chord, I will play exclusively notes from the F Blues Arpeggio. I grant this is a somewhat basic sound, perhaps like a mozzarella pizza, but there is nothing wrong with a simple dish made with love and passion. By the way, check out my pizza method of playing the blues in this video. Fun fact, 50% of the people watching right now aren't subscribed to Jazzduets. Please don't be that person. Hit the subscribe button. It's quick, free, and it keeps the channel alive. Now let's add another note into the mix, the major 6th. Now we have this set of notes. Root, minor 3rd, major 3rd, 5th, and the major 6th. Let's pause and focus on this major 6th a moment, as it is perhaps an overlooked sound of the major scale compared to, say, the stronger sonic flavours of the 4th and the major 7th. These two notes, the 4th and the major 7th, are quite different in emotion and sound feeling to the major 6th, as they have a magnetic feel. The 4th pulls down to the major 3rd, and the major 7th pulls up to the root. The 6th, on the other hand, is more stable and harmonious, more soulful, in other words, I would suggest. Here is a wonderful example of this note in Joe Zawinul's Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. Returning to these set of notes. we could label them as a 5-note pentatonic soul scale. As there are 5 notes, and together they evoke a soulful sound flavour. This is the exact set of notes Horace Silver used in his classic Sister Sadie. And here is an awesome example of Michael Brecker playing the notes of the C Soul Pentatonic. Michael plays the minor third as a grace note. Here now are a couple of examples of this soul pentatonic scale in action. And here now is the soul pentatonic over a simple 3-chord B-flat blues. I would like to suggest that it is highly recommendable to add notes one by one when we are learning and assimilating, just like we are doing here. Certainly, when we are new to a foreign language, we cannot hope to learn many words at the same time, especially as adults. Likewise, in music, I think we need to take the time to get to know each and every note in the context of a tonality, so we can get to the point where we can recognize how each note feels emotionally, just as easily as we can recognize and differentiate, say, between the flavors of chocolate and cheese. If we do not take the time to do this, we run the risk of sounding confused when we improvise, as the great Bill Evans said in such a polite way.
They can't possibly build on that. If they build on that, they're building on top of confusion and vagueness, and they can't possibly progress.
Now let's add another note flavor into the mix, the 2nd or 9th degree. This is a bit like the major 6th to me, soulful and restful, soft and tender and emotional. Please note, these are just my own personal adjectives I am using here to describe sounds that are perhaps impossible to label with mere words, and that are unique for each person. For that reason, I recommend taking the time to write down how the different notes sound. The root for me is homely and safe. The 2nd is open and optimistic. The minor 3rd, bluesy, jarring, and a little primeval. The major 3rd is conservative and a bit square. The perfect 4th is soulful and pulls on the heartstrings. The 5th imbues peace, order, and equilibrium. The major 6th is soulful and homogeneous. The flattened 7th is bluesy again, but with power and strength, and the major 7th is bright and beautiful. Okay, adding the 2nd degree to the previous soul pentatonic, we now get this scale. This can be thought of as the major pentatonic with the minor 3rd added in. As well, it is known as the major blues scale. It also has the same notes as the D minor blues scale. However, each note is felt differently as its root center and starting note is F major instead of D minor. Here are some lines that feature this major blues scale. And here is a funky 3-chord blues that features the major blues scale, where I will change the major blues scale every time the chord changes. By the way, if you're getting something out of this video, please take a second to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. These small gestures on your part please and encourage me. Okay, let's add one more note into the mix, a very important one, the flattened 7th. This then produces the following scale. This flattened 7th is so different from the regular, pretty, pungent major 7th, which is hardly a mainstay ingredient of the blues. If we need a label, I suppose we can call this the 7-note soul scale. However, maybe thinking of it as a major pentatonic with added flattened 3rd and flattened 7th is probably easier to understand. By the way, this scale contains the tritones of C dominant 7th and F dominant 7th. Here are some lines that demonstrate the sound of it. I hope you enjoyed the video. The material here is featured in the Soul Scale resource and the foundational Soul Scale improvisational course. Check the video description for the links. I leave you now with a lazy jazz blues that exclusively features the 7-note soul scale on each chord. Thanks for watching.